Welcome to Gospel Truth with Andrew Womack, a teaching ministry that emphasizes God's unconditional love and grace. And now, here's Andrew.
Welcome to our Monday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. Today I'm continuing a series where we're talking about what the true nature of God is. And this is the beginning of my third week on this, and so there's no way I can go back and summarize this. Let me just say it's super important. You can't really have a good relationship with the person that you've misunderstood what they're like. And I believe that God has been misrepresented and misunderstood, and because of it, this is why people blame God for things like hurricanes, tsunamis, tragedies, death, all kinds of things, because they don't truly know God. Now, this misinformation about God comes from a number of sources, but one of the sources, and this is going to shock some of you, but this is what we've been talking about for 2 weeks, is that the Old Testament gave an incomplete, not an inaccurate, but an incomplete representation of who God was. And I've used a number of scriptures to show that. I showed in the Old Testament where Elijah called fire down out of heaven and killed 102 men. Jesus' disciples, James and John, in Luke chapter 9, tried to do the same thing, and Jesus rebuked them and said, "You know not what manner of spirit you are of, for the Son of Man did not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them." And so we drew from that if Jesus would have been present on the earth in his physical ministry, back when Elijah called a fire down out of heaven and killed 102 men, he would have rebuked Elijah. Even though that wasn't wrong at the time, that is not the true nature and character of God, because Jesus revealed God to us in a way that nobody else ever has. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 3 says that Jesus is the express image of the Father. In other words, he is a perfect representation, and everything else was incomplete. And so from this, I've been showing you that the Old Testament law, although it wasn't sin, it wasn't wrong, it was incomplete. And if taken as a complete expression of God, it is a misrepresentation of God. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. The law did not misrepresent God if you used it for the purpose it was intended. But one of the greatest deceptions that Satan has ever put down is to get across to people that the law was what God was really like. No, the law wasn't given to bless us and to help us as it's been represented. The law wasn't given to help us overcome sin, but the law was actually given to help sin overcome us.